You have given so much. For so long, you have shown up when others did not. You have stayed patient when patience was the last thing you had left. You have loved carefully, quietly, generously, and still found yourself standing in a silence that no one thought to fill for you. That exhaustion you carry right now, the kind that sleep does not fix, the kind that follows you into mornings that should feel new, it is not weakness. It is what happens when a heart keeps pouring from a cup that no one remembers to refill. There is a particular kind of pain that does not announce itself loudly. It does not come from cruelty. It comes from expecting kindness from people who simply do not have it to give, from waiting for understanding that never quite arrives, from loving with your whole self and receiving something careful and measured in return. And the loneliest part, the part that finds you at 2 in the morning, when the house is quiet and the thoughts are not, is that you blame yourself for wanting more. You were not asking for too much. You were asking people who had nothing left to give. I want to say something personal here, before we begin. I have sat with this feeling myself, that quiet ache of giving everything and still feeling like it was never quite enough. What I found in these teachings did not fix everything overnight, but it changed something in me. Slowly, quietly, the way real things change. I believe they can do the same for you. Today, you will walk through 7 Buddhist teachings that have the power to change not what you expect from the world, but what you need from it. Stay through teaching number 5. What you hear there may finally give you permission to stop waiting and start living. Now, breathe, and let these words find you. Teaching 1. Expectations are invisible chains, and you have been wearing them for years. There is something no one ever tells you about expectations. They do not feel like expectations when you are living inside them. They feel like common sense. They feel like fairness. They feel, most of all, like love. If I show up for you, you will show up for me. If I remember the things that matter to you, you will remember the things that matter to me. If I give you my loyalty, my time, my patience, the quiet, careful work of paying attention, you will give me yours. These feel like reasonable beliefs. They feel like the basic architecture of human connection, the unspoken agreement that makes relationships feel safe. But here is what the Buddha understood more than 2,500 years ago, and what most of us are still quietly learning the hard way. You made that contract alone. You wrote every clause of it in private. And you have been wondering ever since why no one else seems to be keeping it. The Buddha taught that one of the deepest roots of human suffering is not what happens to us, but the gap between what happened and what we believed should have happened. That gap, that invisible space between reality and expectation, that is where disappointment takes root. That is where resentment grows so slowly, you almost do not notice it until the day you realize you have been carrying it for years. That is where so many sleepless nights are made. A chain does not have to be heavy to hold you in place. The thinnest thread of "they should have known better," the smallest whisper of "after everything I did for them," can keep you anchored to a hurt for far longer than the hurt deserves. Not because the hurt was not real, but because the expectation beneath it was a rule you wrote alone, in a language no one else was taught to speak. Think about the last time someone disappointed you. Not the surface of it, but the underneath. Were you truly hurt by what they did, or were you hurt by the distance between what they did and what you had already decided, in some quiet corner of yourself, that they would do? That is not a question meant to dismiss your pain. It is a question meant to show you where the pain is actually living. Because when you know where something lives, you can begin slowly, gently to loosen it. Notice today, when something stings. When someone's words or silence lands harder than you expected, ask yourself honestly, is this about what happened, or is this about the distance between what happened and what I needed to happen? That single question, asked with honesty and without self-judgment, can begin to change everything. The world did not break a promise. You made one alone and then spent years wondering why no one else remembered to keep it. Teaching 2. People can only give what they have, and most people are running empty. You have spent years, perhaps decades, expecting depth from people who have never learned to swim. This is not a criticism of you. It is one of the most human things there is. To assume that because you feel things deeply, the people around you must feel them too. To assume that because you would never let someone you love feel invisible or unheard, the people you love would never let you feel that way either. To give generously and assume, without ever saying it aloud, that generosity would naturally find its way back. But here is the quiet truth that changes everything when you finally let it settle. Every person in your life is giving you exactly what they have, not what they could have with more effort, not what they should have with more love. What they have, right now, with the emotional vocabulary they developed or did not develop, with the wounds they healed or are still carrying without knowing it, with the love they were given as children or the love they were not given, which shaped them just as surely. The Buddha taught that no person acts beyond their own level of awareness. A lamp with no oil cannot light your path, no matter how desperately you need it to, no matter how dark the road has become. Not because the lamp refuses, not because it does not care about your darkness, simply because it has nothing to give. There is a story passed down in the Buddhist tradition. A woman came to her teacher, exhausted and grieving a particular kind of loneliness. She said, "My closest friend, the one I have known for more than 30 years, cannot comfort me when I am in pain. She sits with me, she says words that sound right, but I feel nothing. I feel more alone with her beside me than I do sitting by myself in an empty room. What is wrong with her? What is wrong with me?" The teacher listened to all of it. He did not rush her. When she finished, he reached down and placed an empty clay pot in her hands. "Ask this pot to give you water," he said quietly. She looked at him, then at the pot. "It has none to give." He nodded, unhurried. "Neither does she. She is not cold. She is not cruel. She has not chosen to leave you in your pain. She is simply empty of the very thing you need most. And no amount of asking, however patient, however desperate, however many years you spend hoping will draw water from a vessel that carries none. Sit with that, not with bitterness, but with the kind of clarity that can, if you let it, release something you have been carrying for a very long time. Think of the person who has disappointed you most consistently, not the one who hurt you deliberately, but the one who simply could not show up in the way you needed, the one who left you feeling unseen without ever meaning to. The one you have explained yourself to 100 times, hoping that this time they would finally understand. Is it possible, even a little, even on the edges of what you are willing to consider, that they were the empty pot? That what they could not give you had nothing at all to do with your worth, and everything to do with their own emptiness? When I first truly understood this teaching, not just heard it, but felt it land somewhere real, I noticed something shift. The story I had been telling about certain people in my life changed. It softened, not because what happened stopped mattering, but because I stopped making their limitations mean something about me. When you stop asking the empty pot for water, you stop feeling rejected by its emptiness, and you can finally, quietly, go looking for a well. Release one expectation this week, not as defeat, not as giving up, not as pretending the hurt was not real. Release it as clarity. See the person as they truly are, and from that clearer, gentler place, decide what you would like to do next. When you stop asking the empty pot for water, you can finally go find yourself a well. Teaching 3. The less you expect, the more you will finally see. Expectations do not just cause pain, they cause blindness. This is the part we almost never talk about. We talk, often and rightly, about how expectations lead to disappointment. We talk about the distance they create between people, but we rarely talk about the quieter cost, the way expectations steal the beauty that is right in front of us, present and available and waiting to be noticed, hidden in plain sight behind the weight of what we decided things should look like. When you expect someone to reach out, their silence feels like rejection, even when their silence has nothing to do with you. When you expect gratitude, a warm and genuine thank you lands as barely enough, already fading before it finishes arriving. When you expect someone to understand without being told, their honest confusion feels like proof that they do not care. The expectation becomes the lens, and through that lens, even kindness looks like it is falling short. Even love, offered freely and without reservation, begins to look like not quite what you asked for. The Buddha taught that a mind colored by craving sees a world of lack. The very same world, seen by a mind released from craving, becomes a world of abundance. The people are the same. The days are the same. The difference lives entirely in what the mind brings to them. Think of a morning when you expected nothing from anyone, perhaps a quiet hour before the rest of the house began its needs, perhaps a long walk with no destination and no one waiting for your return. How did small things feel on a morning like that? The particular color of the sky before the day fully arrives, the warmth of something held between your hands, a bird going about its business just outside the window, a moment of wind through an open door, that lightness, that quiet sense of this is enough, this is more than enough. It was not because the world was different that morning. It was because your expectations had not yet arrived to measure and find things wanting. That lightness is always available to you. It is not something that requires a special morning or a particular set of circumstances. Expectations are simply what covers it, the way clouds cover a sky that has not gone anywhere. When did you last receive something kind and truly feel it fully, all the way through, without immediately placing it next to what you still needed? When did someone do something small for you, and instead of feeling genuinely grateful, some quiet, automated part of you thought, "Finally, it is about time. I have been waiting for this"? What would your days feel like if every act of care had the ability to surprise you, to land as a gift rather than as something owed? This is not a small question. Sit with it longer than feels comfortable. For one day this week, practice receiving without measuring. Let what is given land without immediately comparing it to what is missing. Notice how different an ordinary Tuesday feels when you are no longer keeping score. Gratitude cannot grow in soil packed hard with expectation. Loosen the ground just a little, just today, and see what begins to bloom. Teaching 4. Your happiness was never theirs to carry. There is a quiet way we hand our peace to other people, so gradually, so naturally, that most of us never notice it happening until the day we realize we cannot locate our own contentment without first checking the temperature of someone else. When they are warm toward you, something in you relaxes. When they are distant, even briefly, even for reasons that have nothing to do with you, something in you tightens. When they approve, you stand taller. When they withdraw, something you had not realized was balanced on the edge quietly falls. This is not love, or rather, it is love that has slowly become something else without your awareness. It is what happens when the heart, trying to stay close to the people it cares about, begins to outsource its own stability. When you place the responsibility for your inner world in hands that were never built to hold it, and then feel confused and somehow betrayed when those hands shift, as all human hands eventually do. The Buddha taught that a mind that depends on external conditions for its peace will never know lasting stillness. Not because the conditions are wrong or the people unworthy, because conditions change. They always have, and they always will. People change. Priorities change. The warmth that was consistent last year becomes distracted this year through no fault of yours, and the ground you had built your mornings on is suddenly different beneath your feet. The only ground that does not shift is the ground inside you. Imagine building your home on someone else's land. You can pour years of care into it. You can make it beautiful. You can tend every corner of it with love and real attention. But the moment that person moves, or changes, or simply drifts in a direction you did not anticipate, you find yourself without shelter, not because you did anything wrong, because the foundation was never truly yours. Your peace cannot live on ground that belongs to someone else. How many mornings have begun with a feeling shaped entirely by whether someone reached out or did not? How many nights have turned into long, wakeful hours of turning over, a silence that meant nothing to the person who kept it, but everything to you, lying in the dark, trying to understand what it meant? How much of your emotional life has been spent in response to others, rather than in quiet, conscious choice? Begin returning to yourself. When you notice your inner state shifting because of what someone else did or did not do, pause before you follow it all the way down. Ask, with genuine curiosity rather than judgment, what do I actually feel beneath what they did? What here is truly mine? That question, asked honestly and without hurry, is the beginning of coming home to yourself. Your peace is not a gift that others can grant you. It is a place you learn slowly, imperfectly, with practice to return to. Alone and on purpose. Teaching 5. Letting go of expectations is not giving up on love. It is learning to love without conditions. This is the teaching I promised you at the beginning. The one that may give you permission you have been waiting for without knowing quite what you were waiting for. Releasing expectations does not mean you stop caring. It does not mean you build walls or harden yourself or keep people at a careful, managed distance. It does not mean you pretend the hurt did not happen or settle for whatever is offered and call it enough. It means something far more difficult and far more beautiful than any of that. It means you finally learn to love without conditions. I know the fear underneath this. You are afraid that if you stop expecting, you will become invisible. That if you ask for nothing, nothing is what you will receive. That releasing your grip means watching everything you hoped for simply slip away and then being told to call that peace. That fear is real. It deserves to be named, not dismissed. But the Buddha made a distinction that I want you to hold carefully. He spoke of two experiences we almost always mistake for the same thing. The first is metta, a love that is open and unconditional. Love that genuinely wishes the other person well without requiring them to behave a certain way in return. Love that says, from a place of real and settled warmth, I want good things for you. I want you to be whole and at peace, regardless of whether your peace includes me or not. The second is upadana attachment, the need for the other person to stay, to choose you, to show up in a specific way in order for your own inner world to feel stable. It speaks in the language of love. It wears love's face, but underneath, it is a kind of control, a quiet insistence that another person's freedom must be conditional on your comfort. The other slowly closes it around both of you, without either of you meaning for that to happen. You can love someone deeply and release the need for them to love you back in a particular way. You can give without quietly building a debt in their name. You can hold someone warmly in your heart, while also knowing that your peace cannot live or die by their choices. You are allowed to love people who cannot love you the way you need. You are allowed to grieve what was not given genuinely, honestly, for as long as grief needs, and still choose your own peace. You are allowed to release the need for things to have been different, without releasing the love itself. Releasing expectations is not the death of love. It is love that has finally grown wise enough to stop hurting itself. It is love that has learned the difference between holding someone gently and gripping them until neither of you can breathe. You have been waiting for permission to stop waiting, to stop measuring the distance between what you needed and what arrived, to let love be love, without the contract underneath it. This is that permission. The truest love does not grip, it holds gently, and it knows with quiet courage, earned slowly, when to open its hands. Teaching 6. Stop expecting. Start protecting. The difference between expectations and boundaries. Something important needs to be said here, because without it, everything in the teachings before this one could be misunderstood in a way that costs you more than the expectations ever did. Releasing expectations does not mean accepting everything. An expectation says, "You must behave this way for me to feel at peace." It places your inner world in someone else's keeping. It makes your stability conditional on their choices, which means every time they choose differently, you lose ground. A boundary says something entirely different. A boundary says, "If you treat me this way, I will choose to step back." It does not demand that the other person change. It does not require them to be different or better or more aware than they currently are. It simply makes clear, quietly, with dignity, without drama, what you will and will not remain present for. One surrenders your power to someone else, gradually and without ceremony. The other keeps your power exactly where it belongs. Many people, and I suspect many of you listening have lived this, have spent years confusing these two things, releasing expectations and erasing themselves. Acceptance and silence, staying in places that were diminishing them, slowly, day by day, not because they freely chose to, but because asking for something better felt like asking for too much. It was not too much, it never was. The Buddha taught non-attachment, and he also taught right action. Wisdom is understanding what you cannot change. Courage is knowing what you will not remain for. A person of genuine peace is not a person who accepts all things equally. They are a person who knows the difference between what is not theirs to control and what is entirely within their right to walk away from. I want to be honest with you here. I spent a long time believing that being spiritual, being peaceful, being the kind of person who did not need much meant staying soft and open in every direction, no matter what arrived. It took me time to understand that you can be both, warm and boundaried, loving and unwilling to disappear, open-hearted and clear about what you will not accept. Look at your life with gentle honesty today. Is there a place where you have confused endurance with acceptance? Where you have called yourself patient when really you are exhausted? Where staying has become a habit that was once a choice? That is not peace. That is exhaustion that has forgotten it is allowed to rest. You can release expectations and still know your worth. You can let go of the need for others to be different and still choose, clearly and without apology, what you will remain present for. These two things were never in conflict. Teaching 7. You are the only home you have ever truly had. For so long, you have been looking for peace in other people, in their attention, the particular warmth of feeling truly seen by someone who has chosen to look, in their consistency, the quiet comfort of knowing they will still be there tomorrow, that they have not shifted or drifted or quietly decided to become someone you no longer recognize. In their choosing of you, again and again, in the small daily ways that tell you that you matter. And when those things moved, as people inevitably do, as everything does in this life that is made entirely of change, something in you felt suddenly without shelter, unmoored, as though you had been living in a home that turned out, after all these years, to belong to someone else. The Buddha's final teaching to those who had walked with him longest was this: be a lamp unto yourself. Not a lamp that needs another flame nearby to stay lit. Not a lamp that dims and gutters every time the room grows darker or someone opens a door and lets the cold in. A lamp that carries its own fire, quiet, steady, entirely its own. Think of a tree standing in an open field. It does not reach sideways toward other trees for its strength. It does not look around to measure itself against what is growing nearby or borrow stability from something outside itself. Its roots go down deeper into its own ground, drawing from what has always been there beneath the surface. In drought, the roots go further down. In the hardest storms, the roots hold. The stability was never built outward, toward other trees. It was always built downward, into itself. Your roots are inside you. They have always been there. You simply stopped tending them gradually, without noticing when you began spending all your care and water on the soil of other people's lives. When did you last spend a quiet hour simply being, not being useful to someone, not being available, not being the version of yourself that other people need you to be? When did you last choose something, anything at all, simply because it restored you? When did you last feel at peace, not because someone offered it to you, but because you reached inside yourself and found it there, patient and waiting? You do not need anyone's attention to confirm that you are real. You do not need anyone's approval to confirm that you are enough. Your worth was never something another person was qualified to grant, and it was never, no matter how it felt in the moments they tried, something they had the power to permanently take away. I want to say something directly to you before we close. You have been so careful with everyone else, so attentive to what they needed, what would make things easier, what they were going through. You have extended yourself, again and again, toward the comfort of others. What would it look like? What would one single day look like if you extended that same careful attention toward yourself? Not instead of caring for others. Alongside it, as if you, too, were someone worth tending. Each morning this week, before the messages arrive and the day begins its demands, before you turn your full attention outward to everything and everyone waiting for it, pause for just one moment. Ask yourself a single, simple question. What do I need today? Not what do they need, not what should I do to hold things together. What do you need in this body, on this morning, in this particular life that is yours and no one else's? Answer honestly. Begin there. And know that beginning there is not selfishness. It is the most responsible thing you can do for yourself and for everyone who loves you. You were never waiting to be found by someone else. You were waiting faithfully for longer than you should have needed to stop searching for yourself in places that were never going to hold you. You are the home you have been looking for. You always were. And it has been waiting, unhurried and patient, for you to come back. Today you walked through something that cannot be quietly unwalked. You saw that the invisible chains were made not of malice, but of hoping your own love, turned inward until it had nowhere honest to go. You saw that the people who could not give you what you needed were not always choosing to leave you empty. They were simply empty themselves, offering exactly what they had, which was not always what you came for. You saw that the peace you have spent years searching for in other people's consistency, in their warmth, in their repeated choosing of you, that peace was never something they had the authority to provide. It was always yours. You learned that releasing expectations is not the end of love. It is love finally grown patient enough, wise enough, and gentle enough with itself to stop demanding proof. That you can hold someone warmly without gripping them. That you can release the need for things to have gone differently and still, with full dignity, know what you are and are not willing to remain present for. That the ground beneath your feet has always been there, solid and unhurried. You simply forgot, for a stretch of years, that it belonged entirely to you. There is only one thing left now. Not a resolution made in a moment of feeling that fades before morning. Not a promise to need nothing, or feel nothing, or ask for nothing ever again. Just one small choice, made today, in this quiet moment before anything else begins. To need a little less from the world outside and tend, with real and deliberate care, a little more to the world within. To ask yourself, once, without rushing past the answer, what do I need today? And to let that answer matter. To let yourself matter not at the end of the list, not after everyone else is tended to, but here, now, first. That is where peace lives, not in whether someone calls, not in whether you are chosen, not in the arrival of what you have been waiting for. Here, in the quiet, unhurried ground of your own choosing, it has been waiting for you, patient as a lamp that stays lit through the long night, not because someone remembered to tend it, but because it learned, finally, to carry its own fire. If these words found something real in you today, something you have been carrying quietly, something you did not quite have language for until just now, I would love to hear from you in the comments below. Tell me, what is one expectation you feel ready to release? Not perfectly, not forever, just today. Your words may be the very thing someone else is sitting alone with right now, not yet brave enough to say out loud. If you would like to keep walking, there is more here for you. Subscribe and stay close. We will go further into this together. You have carried enough for long enough. Put it down gently. You are allowed to rest now. And you are allowed to be whole exactly as you are, exactly where you are, in this moment, right now.